What's going on, family? Welcome back to Larry's Anything Goes. Hopefully, you guys having a great and exceptional day. If you're watching, don't forget to hit the like button. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe, and so I can keep my channel alive. All right, so it's all good in the neighborhood. As they say in Texas, everything's chicken but the bone because my black butt is at home. All right, so this is another edition of today's forecast. We're all gonna die. The 29th edition. I do this once a month, every month, where I basically, in a sense, mock the media. Even though today I feel like I'll be much more serious in the things that I will be talking about, but because we're in very serious times. Usually I started doing this about a year ago because I used to mock people that love to stress over things that they can't control. Because basically our media, whether it's Fox News, CNN, um, MSNBC, or your local news program, the main thing that their primary objective is always to keep people in fear, keep people scared, and all that great stuff. Always, and the main reason is that I love to mock the media is for one very simple reason. If you look at majority of your major cities, the media did a great job of scaring the crap out of people to go visit or even buy real estate in. If you look at those same neighborhoods 10, 20 years ago, for instance, Los Angeles, San Diego, New York City, Washington, D.C., those even parts of Boston, the quote unquote bad neighborhoods where the real estate was dirt cheap, they were dirt cheap for a reason. But the moment gentrification started to take place, meaning that people who could buy properties for cents on a dollar or cash money were able to fix those houses up and able to sell or rent those properties out, houses and apartments out for much more of a higher price because of those cities um, embedded getting in business with other corporations, which there's nothing wrong with. Getting in business with other corporations in order to bring a stadium to the city. Other corporations will bring more jobs to the city, and therefore those jobs and stadiums and arenas made the cities 10 times more expensive to live in compared to the cost of living in those major cities in the era of the 1980s and the 1990s. Case in point, Los Angeles, California, specifically Inglewood, California, with the SoFi Stadium. Inglewood, California used to be a reasonably priced place to live in, where one could buy a house for $100,000 to $80,000. Now, the average price, I mean, heck, and this blew my mind, but I just looked at an email that was sent to me via Zillow, and 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom homes costing $500,000 to $800,000 in Compton, California, of all places. Compton, California, of all places, 800,000, 700,000 to $500,000 for a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom house or 4-bedroom, 1-bathroom house. Crazy. One level house, by the way. But I digress. And they wonder why LA has been gentrified. Nobody can afford to live there anymore. Yeah, places like Oakland, California, San Francisco, California. Places like Queens, New York, and Harlem, New York, and the Bronx, New York used to be considered to be reasonable places to live in. Not anymore. But to give the same example of the SoFi Stadium, shout out to the Rams, they had a game today in Inglewood, California. The Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York, that helped gentrify Brooklyn, New York. Brooklyn used to be the city where it was very cheap to live in, but it was one of those very dangerous places to reside in. Now it's been heavily gentrified to the point where most regular everyday working people cannot afford to live there unless they have 5 families living in a house. But that is happening throughout majority of all the major metropolitan cities within the United States of America. Even you can go to places like Nashville, Tennessee, Austin, Texas, Atlanta, Georgia, Dallas, Texas, Houston, Texas, have become very expensive cities to reside in. New Orleans, Louisiana. The next places to be gentrified could be Birmingham, Alabama, Jackson, Mississippi. The whole state of Florida has been gentrified. So it's not just East Coast and the West Coast. Places in the Midwest, Twin Cities, and Minneapolis and St. Paul, Minnesota, Chicago, Illinois, places like that are being gentrified. Moral of the story is, why am I talking about this? Well, it's because, the saying that I say, make money move so you can live like a fool, is very real because, and I say this all the time, I say that if you don't concentrate on your finances, then you put yourself in a very precarious position to where you could be out on the street, living in your car, things catch up with you. Things have caught up to people now. I've been saying this for a long time. It's like we're living in a time now where the young generation knows that having a kid is a financial decision, not just bringing a new life into this world and starting a family and things of that nature. Gen Z knows that every decision that's made, for the ones who have the critical thinking skills, every decision that is made has to be an economically calculated decision. Case in point, going to school. Well, what's the point of going to college if you know that you are going to get a degree in something that's going to be obsolete because of AI? You have to be calculated in regards to just, you can't just. Gen Z knows that going to school is not just a statement that other previous generations like myself, the millennial generation, Gen X and millennials were fed that specifically to say, hey, get a college degree, everything will work itself out. No, if you're getting a degree, you have to get a degree in something that's actually going to be useful in the future, and ensure that a app or a robot is not going to be able to replace your degree. And especially if you're one of those getting into crazy kinds of debt, up to $80,000 to $100,000 worth of debt. And the main reason why I say this is because we're living in rough times. Consumer spending is going to be at an all-time low in regards to nefarious things, because people know that with inflation, the cost of food, cost of rent, cost of housing, cost of cars is way more expensive than any other time in history. So therefore, people are like, hey, I have to buy necessities and focus on keeping myself afloat, instead of just buying crap that has nothing to do with anything. I mean, it has nothing to do with keeping me alive. It had nothing to do with keeping me on board in regards to having a place to live and a car to drive and things of that nature. It's a serious thing. But are you going to take this seriously, or are you just going to play games? That's your choice, and you have to go from there. Because it's normal for people to live in two specific states, to live in their car and have a job, which I consider to be third world conditions, but I'll leave it at that. So California, and I love California. See, I'm wearing the Inglewood hat right now, so I'm not knocking California. In the state of Hawaii, it's very normal for people to be homeless and have a job. That sentiment, unfortunately, is becoming a normal thing across the entire United States of America, to the point where a lot of people have gotten hip to the people living in RVs and sleeping in tents and whatnot. So campgrounds across the country are raising the rates for people to be able to sleep in the campgrounds, and a lot of these campgrounds don't even have access to running water and things of that nature. So in certain aspects, small but it could become a growing thing in 2026, where you have people living in more third world conditions, i.e. no access to running water, i.e. no access to electricity, because they can't afford it. And that has nothing to do with politics. It's just the economics of it all. I always say, I don't need to know your politics, I need to know your economics. And this thing called having money saved and money invested, increasing income and increasing value, is becoming more and more apparent to more and more everyday working people. But it is becoming more and more, oh, I need to actually pay more attention to this than football and sport, any other sport, video games and politics. This is what I need to stay on my grind and stop being distracted. All right, these are the things that matter the most. All right. And of course, I've got into my rant, and I just noticed that I haven't really even, like, where's my music at? Gotta have the music, man. Gotta flow. Gotta let it flow, baby. Where's it at? And my little band now. Let me get the music going. Just turn this joker down a little bit. Cool. All right. Anyways, so let's get into this. The first article. Where is it at? And then remember, it's like, I always say the Gen Z is definitely a generation that knows that they cannot just commit to a significant other just based off of love. Other things need to be taken into consideration. If not, financially, they will be screwed more than any other generation, because just basing off of making commitments off of love and lust and whatnot, that's the beginning stages. That never needs to be the ending stages. Now, this article broke my heart. As a child of 2 Army personnel who met while they were stationed in Stuttgart, Germany, shout out to Stuttgart, this broke my heart. So unfortunately, this article came out on the 12th of October, today actually. Government shutdown causes unprecedented spikes in military families using food pantries. Now, it's not new that military families, and shout out to all the veterans and the current people serving the United States military and keeping America safe. It's not unheard of people being in the military having to, utilize certain government programs like food stamps, or what they would call EBT cards, things of that nature, SNAP benefits, because they're not getting, they haven't made, in the military you get good benefits, but if you don't make rank, then you're not really making that much money. That's why a lot of the military personnel end up working second jobs, having side hustles, and side businesses and things of that nature. But the fact that there's been a spike in military personnel and their families increasingly relying on food pantries as a prolonged government shutdown causes uncertainty for their household finances, even after it's been announced that funds would be paid to troops this month. Advocates say that the military households are particularly hard hit during shutdowns because many military spouses work for the federal government, and so both breadwinners can be left without a paycheck. And this is true because military spouses military spouses and veterans get preferential treatment for becoming federal government employees, which they should, because they have served this country. They are married to somebody who has served this country. So shout out to the veterans. Shout out to the spouses of military personnel. And military spouses also face high levels of unemployment due to the frequent relocation required by the job. That's, once again, shout out to the military spouses and military members, because they have to move every 3 years, and that's why I would say shout out to them, because they are working for the mission. They're preserving the mission and the security of the United States of America in the United States and abroad. So they should get preferential treatment when it comes to being hired for government contracts, government jobs, because they make constant sacrifice. And the fact that this is happening is very sad, and it just shows you the lack of respect to our service members and lack of respect to their family members, because the sacrifice they have to make to relocate their families all over the country and all over this world in order to preserve the mission, being mission first, it says a lot. And the fact that they have to utilize food banks because look, the cost of everything has gone up tremendously. And that's why I see more and more I see signs of more and more of economic collapse in 2026, just because when people like me, who don't even fall in this category, say it's time to fall back and not go anywhere and do anything, that says a lot about the confidence that I have in the U.S. economy right now. So I just leave it at that. But I digress. And I hope that everything works itself out. And there's other organizations that are out there to help people like them, because I was talking to this elder lady. I think she's old enough to retire. She works at this food line grocery store that I go to. She's old enough to retire, but I don't think she can afford to retire, because remember, retirement has nothing to do with your age. It has everything to do with money. So if I had $5 million, I'd retire tomorrow too. I would still work. I would just do work that I feel that matters. But she said to herself, this is a person who works 2 jobs. No kids, no student loan debts, no car debt. And this person has to go to a food bank in order for her to eat, and skips meals in order for her to save, to preserve. And this is a sad story that is being told more and more every single day. I think this woman is 67 years old. Yeah, older than my mother. Sad. Real nice person, cashier at my my grocery store. And she told me that this previous Friday and whatnot, that broke my heart. But moments like that makes me thankful for the lifestyle that I have. But see, the thing is that could be me. That could be you. Okay. So when I say make money moves so you can live broke like a fool, I mean that ish. I'm not gonna cuss on here, but I mean that ish. Because it's not a freaking game. And people take being able to buy something for granted. Every time you spend money, remember that could be money taken out of your pocket to keep you alive. Keep you from shredding any dignity that you have. Because the fact that regular everyday working people have to go to food pantry is supposed to be people who can't get a job, who don't have a place to live. But because so many people cannot afford, this person works at a grocery store and can't afford to buy food at the store that this person works at. Something's wrong with this picture. But what do I know, right? Anyways, Monica Bassett, founder and CEO of Stronghold Food Pantry, a food pantry for military members and their families, says that there has been an unprecedented increase in need since the shutdown began, noting 300% increase in people seeking help at its brick and mortar locations in Fort Leavenworth, Kansas. She described the sharp increase in people seeking help as humbling and heartbreaking to witness. The food pantry's national delivery service received 410 new applications for support in just 10 days, an increase, she says, that surpasses their usual total from an entire quarter. That's nearly 9x increase in our application rate, and it reflects both the urgent need families are facing during the government shutdown and the trust they place in us to stand in the gap with dignity and compassion. So I can't read no more of this because this is heartbreaking. You know, it's sad. But, you know, this is why I say it's like, you know, community means a lot. People need to get back to community. And when I say community, I mean people, in a sense, it takes a village to where people are looking out for, having a circle of people where everybody's looking out for the best interests. This whole everybody trying to compete with each other crap, unless you're on a football field or a basketball court, I don't understand. Everybody trying to show off who has a nice house, best house, who has the best car, you know, who's getting what from what. It's just, that's dead. As my mother would say, that's dead stinking gone. We need to look past that. But that's just my personal opinion. It's just the old way of doing things. And that's why I've been adamant. I was like, hey, you're not my real friend. You're not my real family if you can't even watch my content and like it and share and subscribe to it. If you've never bought anything from my online store. Because that shows how, because I've had a lot of people in this life of mine to where they can't wait to hit me up when they need something. But when I need something, I get crickets. So that's why my cutoff game in 2025 has been strong, and my cutoff game in 2026 is going to be even stronger. Trust and believe that. Trust and believe that, family. And I implore everybody to ensure that their cutoff game is even stronger going into this new year with people who have nothing to do with your future. Because nobody has time for slackers in this world anymore, because this world has become more ruthless. Nobody has time for people that want to bring you down, because this world has become more ruthless. Nobody has time for people in this world that are not trying to, if you're on a mission and people around you are not on your mission, cut them off. Because if you don't, then you put yourself in a great position the way you will remain stagnated. And being stagnated in the stagflation economy that we are in right now is not in your best interest. But what do I know? And I'll leave it at that. Especially given the fact that, you know, look, unemployment claims are on the rise. You know, the number of Americans filing new applications for unemployment benefits increased significantly during the last weeks of September. and the labor market has stagnated, with businesses not firing employees on a large scale, but also reluctant to hire more workers. And that's the thing that people need to take into consideration. You know, if you the idea of one losing a job today ensures that the idea of one staying unemployment is very high. We are really in nobody wants to really admit this on a national media level, but we're really living like it's between the year of 2008 and 2010. Because in 2011 and 2013, that's when the U.S. economy turned around. And was starting to look a little bit better. You saw some significant improvements and whatnot. But now, nothing but stagnation, baby. And that's why I keep, hitting the nail on the head, kicking the can down the road. You know what I'm saying? It's not that it's it's a big deal. It's a big deal. You can't put it any other way. So I leave it at that. And that's why I said it's like if you got people surrounding you that aren't in your corner to help you do better, especially if you're a person like me, you want to see everybody do better, you want to see everybody live up to their greatest potential, and they just want to sit there and doom scroll on social media, get rid of them, man. They're wasting your time. You don't even realize you're wasting your time. You're wasting your time. They're wasting your time all at the same time. So, especially given the fact that, remember, it's just like, when you want to do better and you have goals and aspirations to do more things outside of what you're doing, and you're around a stagnated person, they're going to get quiet when you start talking. I've learned that. They're going to be silent, or they're going to just hate on you when you start talking. But they're not going to be able to contribute to the conversation. Just something to think about. Trust and believe that. Just something to think about. All right. So before I call it a night, I got one more thing to talk about. All right. So the credit card debt crisis as of August of this year, 2025, has reached $1.21 trillion, in line with last year's all-time high. All right. Collectively, Americans owe $1.21 trillion in the credit cards, according to the new report from the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. A separate report by Equifax found that many consumers are continuing to spend despite elevated prices and high borrowing costs. But since this article is a couple of months old, I will say that now credit card purchases have declined significantly, because people are saying, hey, I'm just buying what I need. I'm no longer buying what I want, especially with the us being quote unquote in fall, in the wintertime coming, and less people are going to be traveling. So people, staying at home is going to be a bigger thing. A friend of mine was just telling me today, he's like, hey, I'm going to be hitting up the barbecue. If I want to drink, I'm about to go to the liquor store, get my own alcohol. Forget the restaurants and forget the bars. We're going to make it happen in front of our house and in front of our cars. That's the season that we're in right now. And that's the season that I'm in right now. So cutting a lot of the things that I love to do, I specifically travel, is definitely on the chopping block until I feel like it's safe financially to do other things outside of the box. Credit card balances are ticking higher in 2025, according to the new quarterly report on household debts from the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. Balances rose by $27 billion in the second quarter to a collective $1.21 trillion, in line with last year's all-time high. The total is up 2.3% from the previous quarter. Because at the end of the day, if it wasn't for a lot of people even having credit cards, they wouldn't be able to pay their bills. They wouldn't be able to eat. A lot of people are utilizing their credit card bills either to maintain the lifestyle or just maintain their cost of living. Not even just a standard of living, but just to live. This is very deep. This is nothing to play around with. So even myself, it's like, yeah, it's time to fall back. It's time to just, pay off bills and keep it real. It's time for me to get quiet and get boring. And I might keep people snoring, but hey, I'm gonna keep in this life. I'm gonna keep on scoring. If you feel what I'm talking about. I said things are going to be crazy and different last year when I did my New Year's broadcast. and we are coming. And what I've said about a lot of things, not everything, has come to fruition. But I've said tremendously, focusing on the things that have everything to do with making you better will help you get through hard times. We are in hard times, and it's nothing to play around with. So that's all I have. This is the 29th edition of today's forecast. We're all going to die. If you've done so, but please let me do the reminders. Do the great three things: like, share, and subscribe. You can no longer become a member because my channel on YouTube is no longer monetized. But if you want to, you can contribute to my Cash App, PayPal, and Venmo. Cash App is on the screen. PayPal, Venmo, it's all Larry's Anything Goes LLC, but the links will be in the description. If you want to get your Make Money Moves apparel, go onto my online store. If you want to become a travel agent, become a part of my travel team with Planet Marketing, links will be in the description. Once I get more familiarized with actually booking trips for people, I'll talk more about that and go from there. But yeah, we're making money moves. We're scaling back. We're falling back, and we're going to do our best to stay on track or get back on track. But either way, major changes are still coming and going to be implemented. But we're going to get it done underneath the sun because we're going to be number one. All right. So anyways, as I always say, do the great three things. Like, share, and subscribe. Have a great night. Make money moves so you can live more like fools. It's in Spanish. Bienvenido a la vida. Welcome to the life. I'm out, family. Take So, a lot of people ask, what is Larry's Anything Goes LLC? It's real simple. Do affiliate marketing in regards to cryptocurrency affiliations like Coinbase, WEBULL, Crypto.com, etc., and so forth. Stocks, bonds with Acorns and Stash, because these are the vehicles that I utilize to invest in. Number two, I sell products like the shirt you see on me and the hat that you see right here. Make Money Moves hat. Make Money Move shirt, and I make content. That is, at the end of the day, essentially that's what Larry's Anything Goes is. This is a new promo video for the company, and that's it. So as I always say, do the great three things. If you're watching on YouTube, like, share, and subscribe. Have a great day. Make money moves so you can live like fools. It's in Spanish. Bienvenido a la vida. Welcome to the life. And that's all she wrote. Any questions? And thank you again for anybody who's ever bought from my store. Thank you anybody who's ever contributed to my channel, from liking, sharing, subscribing, commenting, super chats, cash apps, PayPals, Venmos, all that good stuff. I just want to say it's greatly appreciated. I do this for love and passion. To be able to monetize is just an extra layer of add-on, so I just want to put that out there. Take care.
Mike, now.